If you've ever gone to physical therapy and you just got a rehab plan that never progressed over time, you did the same exercises for the same reps and sets and weight, and nothing ever changed, then you know how frustrating that can be because you know you should be doing more and you know how unlikely that is to actually get you the results that you're looking for. So yesterday I had a coaching call with one of my newer clients who we are just finishing up her first month with us, and we hopped on this coaching call to game plan what worked well, what maybe didn't work so well, and how we're going to actually progress and modify her program in the next block so that she can keep on making the progress that she's looking for. If you're interested in seeing what actual progression in a rehab program for a lifter should look like, then check it out because I think you'll like it. So let me share my screen. I'm not sure how well you'll be able to see on your phone. If you turn it like sideways, it may work a little bit better. Okay. Can you see my screen here, Mandy?
I can, yes.
Okay. All right. Awesome. So, given that you've tolerated this first kind of block of training pretty well, we haven't really had any like big flare-ups or episode of symptoms or anything like that. The goal
Hmm.
is to basically progress the intensity, progress like the movement variations for both kind of the rehab side of things and the actual like training side of things, as long as symptoms stay pretty stable or start to decrease. So we're going to kind
Okay.
of like take, or I'm planning on taking that approach for all four of the like training sessions, including the movement prep and kind of like rehab work, as well as the actual like lifting. So what I'm thinking about doing is progressing some of like the dynamic spine stuff, so like the band cat camels. I'll probably progress these to the seated Jefferson curls, and then progress the seated Jefferson
Okay.
curls to more like a standing or like standing supported variation to increase the intensity a little bit.
Hmm.
And then we can start adding a little bit of load to those as well. For some like the hip prep work, like the bent knee Copenhagen's, the assisted hip airplanes, we're gonna probably start to increase the intensity of those as well. We can either go to like bent knee Copenhagen raises, where we're going into like dynamic reps, or do the Copenhagens from a straight knee variation instead, because that will change like the physics of the movement basically. Because the leg's straight, you have like a longer moment arm, so it makes it harder, even with like the same weight. Um, so both those we can kind of progress that. For the reverse Copenhagen planks, I'll probably progress these like dynamic reps instead, just because that is straight knee already. And then we can start adding some load to the hip airplanes, either through like holding a dumbbell in your hand outstretched, or there's like a kettlebell setup that I also really like too. But we can definitely start
Okay.
playing around with that as well. What are your thoughts on that?
No, that sounds awesome. I'm super excited to see how the next block goes. I'm glad you brought that up. It reminded me, I'm going to send you a video of
Hmm.
my, I can't see where I am on here. If I'm going to send you a video of my airplanes because I don't
Hmm.
know if I am completely botching those or not.
Yeah,
That's
fair.
a completely new movement for me.
Hmm.
And yeah, I'm just excited to start the next block.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
Hinging,
definitely
I
send that my
think
way.
I think
Oh, sorry.
hinging is probably my most where I'm struggling most, even more
Hmm.
than like complete flexion, like
Yeah.
seated Jeffersons or even like standing. I'm
Hmm.
having less issue with that than hinging, which I didn't make sense in my brain, but
Yeah, it can sometimes be that way, especially if the injury is a little bit more like load sensitive than is just like positional sensitive, because we're obviously loading up the dumbbell RDLs and like the actual hinge more than we would like a seated Jefferson curl, because that's just body weight for right now.
sure.
The goal will be to like slowly progress loading for both those, but that should kind of like help take care of itself a little bit. Um, so we'll go through
Okay.
those changes. You can definitely send me that video, and I'm happy to help like with your airplane technique. And then for the plyo work, I'll probably
Hmm.
progress the plyo push-ups to being done like from the floor. So now it's like full body weight, a little bit more challenging for sure. And then
Yeah, definitely.
for the lower body plyos, we've been doing just like body weight pogo hops on both days. I'll probably keep one
Hmm.
day as a pogo hop variation, but I'll have you add a little bit of weight to it. So like holding 2.5 to like 5 pounds per hand with your hands down by our sides and elbows locked, or you can hold like a light. 5 or 10 pound plate against your chest as you do the pogos, just adding a little bit of load to it. And then for the other day, instead of pogos, we're probably going to switch to an actual like jump variation. So something like a counter movement jump or a box jump or like a seated vertical jump, something that's a little bit more intensity, and not as much just like really high rep, kind of low intensity type stuff like the pogos are. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Sweet.
absolutely.
Um, I mean, for upper body stuff, we haven't really been having to modify any of that just because of the nature of the injury.
Mhm.
So usually what I like to do is, especially if the goal of training is a mix of like strength and hypertrophy work a little bit, especially if it's a little bit more kind of skewed towards strength, is start cycling the rep range to lower reps each kind of like training block until we hit
Okay.
like what our lowest rep target would be that we would feasibly want to train. For some people, that can be like heavy singles. Other people, that could be heavy sets of like 2 or 3 or 4. Um, so for the next block, we'll probably bring down the pressing to sets of like either 5 to 7 or 4 to 6. Do you have a big preference between those two, Mandy?
No, those sound perfect.
Okay, cool. And then for the accessory work, we'll also probably like start to bring down the rep range a little bit too, just so you can increase the intensity. Um, For some of like the really more like isolation type work, I often do like to start to work in like training to failure, so like 0 reps in reserve, or adding in some like intensity technique like rest pause, drop sets, my rep sets, if that's like a style of training that you like to do, just because it helps you get a lot of really good training in a short period of time. So we can definitely work that stuff in. And then the big thing to talk about is more so progression of the bigger lower body movements. Right now, obviously, been having you do like higher rep, slow tempo box squats to partial range of motion. So I like to take 1 or 2 of those variables and progress that uh, to make sure that we're not progressing too much at one time. So we could progress either the rep range, we could progress the tempo a little bit to something like just a 5 second eccentric, or we could drop the box height a little bit. For you, like, do you have any big preference on which variable or variables we adjust?
Um, I don't have the ability to drop a box height below that of like a weight bench.
Okay.
So if there were other variables that could be adjusted, that'd be ideal.
Yeah, for sure. So what we'll do then is we'll probably adjust the rep range a little bit, bring it down to either like 6 to 8 reps or 7 to 9 reps, and then speed up the tempo so that it's more of like a 5-0-0 tempo. Um, with the tempo
Okay.
training, having the slow concentric in there, like that second three number, really limits how much weight you can use because we're weakest in the concentric. So if we progress it to just slow eccentrics with a regular speed concentric, that will definitely allow you to use a little bit heavier loading too. But then we'll still keep the reps a little bit higher, reps in reserve a little bit higher, and the box there to still kind of put some guardrails in place. Sound good?
Absolutely.
Cool. And then with the hinging, we'll probably progress that a little bit less than we progress the box squat because that's the one that you're having the most difficulty with. So I'll probably keep the rep range similar and then just progress the tempo, kind of like we progress the tempo on the box squats. And then we'll stick with that for at least like a week or two, see how it's going. And then if we notice that that's going pretty well, then we can try to like progress the reps in reserve or the reps per set a little bit too. Cool.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Yeah, so those are kind of like my big thoughts. For the accessory work, we'll definitely kind of progress most of the stuff too. Probably get you doing some like some sort of back extension where you're moving through range of motion, progress some of these other like mobility work and all that sort of stuff as well. So yeah, that's kind of my overall thoughts and game plan. Anything about that that doesn't like vibe with you or that you wish was like a little bit different, or if not, I can just kind of get that week up and running for next week, and that way you can check it out over the course of this week, see what it's like. And then if you have any questions, you can obviously ask me. And if we need to like tweak anything or adjust anything, then we can do that as well.
No, that all sounds great. I'm super excited.